What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It's your boy Robert J. Fox, and I'm back with a brand new video. And today's video is another short one, another manga that's like 23 chapters long. It is again the 5th day of horror month. I'm gonna keep pressing. This is the most I've ever made this many videos in a short span of time. I'm kind of proud of myself. This is kind of a record since ever since my last channel. This is peak. Now, I will say this manga is once again a short manga, but I do not recommend it if you don't have a stomach for insects, because the title of this manga is literally translated to Insect Princess, which again, there's a lot of bugs, there's a lot of killings, so I'm just letting you know it gets a little brutal. Now, as you can imagine, the title of this manga is called Mushihime. And it's about a girl named Munakata who is a hybrid between a human and an insect. Don't ask me how, I'll get into it in a minute. Due to her being a hybrid, she can control insects. However, since her body is incompatible with the insect DNA, it causes her to be unable to control her actions and bodies and hormones. Again, I'm gonna get into that. Now, our main character is just some random kid who happens to catch the eye of Munakata. Therefore, a love horror story begins. Due to Munakata trying to get with the MC, she will literally do anything to be with him, including committing genocide. And I'm not even kidding. Like, she literally damn near tries to kill everybody just to get with this guy. It's actually really awesome. Now, in my last video, I said that plot holes are a killer of horror stories in general. And this is a massive problem when it comes to that. This chick she's a hybrid between an insect and a human. When they go into how she's a hybrid, they start off with science, okay? They say she was an experiment. They were trying to, she was born with some kind of disease. They tried to get rid of it by using insect DNA, which made her, into this hybrid, this mutated, human. And then all of a sudden they go from science to fiction to folklore. It was just like, how did you go from one transition to the next? Because she went from being a sick girl who was looking for a cure, whose father was looking for a cure, to her being the bridge between humans and destruction. Why? The plot holes was just absolutely insane, and the plot holes in this manga are actually pretty. There's a lot of them. And then once again, I said it before, this manga is 24 chapters long, which means that is probably that is actually one of the problems, because the manga is actually so short. They don't go a lot into quite a few details, which means the story also suffers from one of the things that a lot of I hate within a lot of stories is just like, just so happens to be in the right place at the right time syndrome. And it has a lot of this. The detective scientist just so happens to be residing in the city that Munakata just so happens to be a transfer student of, which is just so happens to be in the same school of our MC. And it's just like, what? They all y'all just so happen to be coming together at the exact same time at the exact same place. That is absolutely fantastic. Now, keep in mind, I said that this is a romance, a horror romance, which the romance in this manga makes even less sense. I'm gonna be honest, this one makes so little sense, because even when you look at the manga synopsis on multiple book sites, it says a dark romance about a high school boy who falls helplessly in love with a beautiful girl, which when you read the mangas, that's not this story at all. Multiple times throughout this manga, he's afraid of her. Like, he doesn't want anything to do with her. He's the only dude within the entire school who's trying to get away from her. Like, the manga goes through so much effort to show that he has a great fear of her. He has nightmares about her. He sees her killing people. He's even kidnapped by her. I mean, it's like super clear that in his eyes, she's the real villain. And it isn't until later in the story that he just magically develops some kind of odd bond with her, which is barely really explained. It's kind of explained. I will admit, she puts like hormones into him that kind of makes him like attracted to her, and there's also another reason why they're attracted to each other, which is kind of messed up. and I'm not gonna spoil it for those who want to read the manga, but I will admit it's kind of messed up. To make matters even frustrating, and I said this before, the creation of the insect princess starts off with science, and then it randomly jumps into Japanese folklore, which I'm gonna be honest, they should have skipped all the science stuff and just stuck with the folklore. Japanese folklore has some of the most horrific stories of all time. Genuinely, stick with it. The main issue of this manga is the bad pacing. It's overly rushed and a lot of key details are not explained well. However, I must say that the artwork and character design of this manga is really good. Obviously, it's not the best art I've ever seen, but it is really solid. I think it carries this manga relatively well. One of the things I will say is the premise of the story is really solid. If they had took their time with the story, it would have been absolute peak fiction. The concept of a incest princess looking for a mate and killing people is on par with some really decent horror movie series, like a movie series called Species that has a similar premise. You know, a movie series about a woman who is an alien hybrid, blah, 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 goes around looking for a man to reproduce so she can breed more of her own species. That is literally this manga. Same thing, same concept. It's just with insects. A lot of insects. Now, like throughout this manga, you'll see that one of the main problems that I have with this, and I am listing a lot of problems with it so you guys are aware. I do like this manga a lot. It's just there's some problems. One of the big problems is that she's looking for a mate to reproduce with, but everywhere she goes, every man except for our main character is, for some reason, a reason unbeknownst to all of us, every man wants to with her, and it's just like she has so many options. Now, I will say this, if I had to personally rate the manga, and this is just me personally, I'd give it a 4 out of 10 for all of its fallacies. But I'm being a little bit biased because I've read this manga 3 times, and because I've read it 3 times, I have a lot of concerns and a lot of issues. But if you are reading this manga for the very first time, it is definitely a 7 out of 10, because most of the time you're not going to pay attention to a lot of the things that I mentioned, unless, I guess, if you watch this review. But it is enjoyable when you read it for the very first time. It is absolutely peak when you read it. It's not a repeatable series. It's not something that you can repeat over and over again. You can only read it one time and then just drop it for years to come, because if you try to read it again, you're gonna start to realize that something's not right. So without any, that's it for this manga review for Horror Month. This is day 5 for Horror Month. So if you like it, comment down below. Please share, like, and subscribe. You guys know what it is. My name is Robert J. Fox, and until next time, fuck off.
I got 69 bitches that don't do 69. I got 3 or 4 prospects